Ever wonder what happens when one person's faith stands against an entire nation's corruption?
Let's dive into one of the most epic showdowns in history. A story about courage, a corrupt king, and a fiery demonstration of power.
Picture this. Ancient Israel is in a deep crisis.
The nation is ruled by King Ahab, and let's just say he wasn't exactly a role model.
He married Jezebel, a foreign princess who brought her own religion with her, the worship of a god named Baal.
Baal was supposedly the god of rain, storms, and fertility.
So, Ahab builds temples to Baal, and soon much of Israel is bowing down to this idol, forgetting the God who had been with them for generations.
This wasn't just a spiritual problem. Ahab's government was corrupt.
His policies were unjust, and the nation was suffering economically. The rich got richer, the poor got poorer, and the whole moral fabric of society was tearing apart.
It was a dark time for Israel, spiritually and economically.
Then, a man named Elijah steps onto the scene. He's a prophet of Yahweh, the one true God.
He's bold, rugged, and he's not afraid of anyone, not even the king. Elijah walks right up to King Ahab and delivers a shocking message. As the Lord, the God of Israel, lives, whom I serve, there will be neither dew nor rain in the next few years, except my word. Think about that.
Elijah is directly challenging Baal.
The people are worshipping Baal for rain, and Elijah says, nope, no rain until the God of Israel says so. This wasn't just a weather forecast. It was a divine challenge. A severe drought grips the land.
The crops fail, the rivers dry up, and the economy, already struggling, goes into a nosedive.
The people are desperate. They're praying to Baal, but nothing happens. The silence from their idol is deafening.
For 3 long years, the drought continues. Finally, God tells Elijah it's time for the confrontation.
Elijah goes to find Ahab. When the king sees him, he sneers. Is that you troubler of Israel? But Elijah doesn't back down. He points the finger right back at Ahab, saying, I have not made trouble for Israel, but you and your father's family have.
You have abandoned the Lord's commands and have followed the Baals. Then Elijah lays down the challenge of a lifetime.
He tells Ahab to gather everyone on Mount Carmel.
And I mean everyone. All the people of Israel, and specifically, the 450 prophets of Baal and the 400 prophets of Asherah, who were supported by Queen Jezebel. This was going to be a public spectacle.
So they all gather on this mountain.
Imagine the scene, a massive, anxious crowd, a smug king, hundreds of Baal's prophets in their fancy robes, and one lone, determined man, Elijah.
Elijah addresses the crowd. He asks them a piercing question. How long will you waver between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him.
But if Baal is God, follow him.
The people are silent. They're caught in the middle, unsure of what to believe. So Elijah proposes a test.
He says, let's get to bulls. The prophets of Baal can have one, and I'll take the other.
They can prepare their bull, cut it into pieces, and put it on the wood, but set no fire to it.
I'll do the same with my bull. Then you call on the name of your God, and I will call on the name of the Lord, the God who answers by fire. He is God. The people love this idea. It's a clear, simple, and dramatic test. The prophets of Baal go first. They prepare their bull and start to pray. They call out, Baal, answer us.
From morning until noon.
They shout, they dance, they limp around the altar they had made.
But there's no response.
Nothing, just silence. As the day wears on, Elijah starts to have a little fun with them.
He mocks them, saying, shout louder.
Surely he is a god.
Perhaps he is deep in thought, or busy, or traveling. Maybe he is sleeping and must be awakened. This just makes them more frantic. They shout louder and even start cutting themselves with swords and spears, which was a part of their ritual, until their blood flows. But still, no voice, no answer, no fire. Finally, late in the afternoon, their time is up. It's Elijah's turn.
Fast, Elijah does something really significant.
He finds the Lord's altar, which had been torn down, and he repairs it. He uses 12 stones, one for each of the tribes of Israel, as a symbol of the nation's unified covenant with God. He digs a trench around the altar, a big one. Then, he places the wood and the bull on the altar. But he's not finished. He tells the people, fill 4 large jars with water and pour it on the offering and on the wood. They do it. He says, do it again. They do it a second time. He says, do it a third time. They do it again. Water is now drenching the sacrifice, the wood, and filling the entire trench.
Remember, they're in a severe drought.
Water is the most precious resource they have, and Elijah is just pouring it everywhere. He's making the test humanly impossible.
There's no way a stray spark could light this waterlogged pile. With everything soaked, Elijah steps forward and prays.
His prayer is simple, direct, and powerful.
He says, Lord, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, let it be known today that you are God in Israel, and that I am your servant, and have done all these things at your command. Answer me, Lord, answer me, so these people will know that you, Lord, are God, and that you are turning their hearts back again. And then it happens. Instantly, fire from heaven flashes down.
It doesn't just burn the sacrifice.
It consumes everything: the bull, the wood, the stones of the altar, and the soil.
It even licks up all the water in the trench. The fire of God vaporized a stone altar and a trench full of water. The people are stunned. They fall on their faces and cry out in unison, "The Lord, He is God.
The Lord, He is God."
In that single, breathtaking moment, their wavering stops.
They see with their own eyes who the true God is. The contest is over.
Yahweh has won. This event was a pivotal moment for Israel. It was a dramatic turning point that called the nation back from the brink of total spiritual collapse. The people, having witnessed God's supreme power, turn away from Baal and back to the God of their ancestors.
But the story doesn't end there. After this incredible display, Elijah tells Ahab to go eat and drink, because he hears the sound of a heavy rain.
Elijah goes to the top of Mount Carmel, puts his face between his knees, and prays for the rain he had promised.
He sends his servant to look toward the sea 7 times. The first 6 times, the servant sees nothing.
But Elijah keeps praying, his faith unwavering even after the miracle of the fire.
On the 7th time, the servant reports seeing a tiny cloud, the size of a man's hand, rising from the sea.
The tiny cloud is all it takes.
Soon, the sky grows black with clouds, the wind picks up, and a massive downpour begins, ending the 3-year drought.
Just as God's fire proved his power, God's rain proved his authority over nature.
The very thing Baal was supposed to control. Elijah's story is a powerful reminder for us today. It's about the courage to stand for truth, even when you're standing alone.
His unwavering faith in the face of overwhelming opposition and a corrupt system is a testament to the power of true belief.
He confronted idolatry head-on and showed that there are consequences for turning away from what is right. This showdown on Mount Carmel wasn't just a magic trick. It was a demonstration of God's sovereignty and a call for his people to return to him. It challenges us to look at our own lives and ask the same question Elijah asked the Israelites: how long will you waver? It's a call to accountability and a powerful illustration of what can happen when one person is fully committed to their faith. Thanks for watching.
If this story inspired you, hit that like button and subscribe for more content that dives deep into stories of faith and courage. See you next time, and God bless.